Hello and welcome back. So in this video, I want to talk about another issue with the idea of this sort of yin yang, where we've got sort of the infinite good and the infinite evil, and we are, constantly in this karma battle between the two, and we want to, live the middle way, the middle path, where we're living a good life and we're removing distinction. Well, here is the issue is you have to ground good and evil in something. And when you have an infinite good and you have an infinite evil, where do those two things come from? Because, for example, on the Christian worldview, we have an infinite good, which is God, and evil is not a thing in and of itself. I believe this is popularized by C.S. Lewis, I believe. I could be wrong, but it's the idea that actually evil is the lack of good. So when I do something that does not have good, I have actually engaged in this thing called evil. So evil does not exist in itself. It is simply a lack of good. So if I have to ground the good, then all I have to say is that there is a perfect God who is perfectly good. And if I have to ground the perfect evil, all I would say is it is perfectly devoid of all things good. So I can ground all of that in an eternal, unmoved mover when we're talking maybe more in an Aristotelian sense. Basically, Aristotle says you basically have to have something that causes all of the things that come into existence. So that's very cosmological in nature. There has to be something that starts everything. Well, if you have an infinite good on one side of the yin yang and an infinite evil, where do these two things come from? How are there two infinitely powerful forces existing simultaneously? Where do they, what is the cause of these things? Because it's not self-evident that good and evil itself just exist eternally, even prior to the universe. So, and not only that, but if there is a good and if there is an evil, where are those moral entities, right? There's a good and there's an evil, there's morality. Where is that grounded? There has to be at least one grounding God where that is centralized. And that is not something that the worldview can support because, again, God ultimately is the universe. So you cannot ground this infinite good in a little g God that has reincarnated because, humans haven't even existed for the duration of the universe. So there are a lot of issues trying to explain and ground the good and the evil, these sort of infinite and equal entities that have a moral component within the Buddhist worldview. And so that is something that also, from a philosophical perspective, requires explanation. So I'll leave that there. Zach, do you feel like that was clear enough?
I feel like you've got it.
Okay. So with that, anything you want to add?
This is not my domain.
That's all right. Okay. Well, good deal. So in the next video, we're going to continue with some areas of Buddhism that are maybe not logically consistent. So we will see you there. God bless.